Hi, everybody. This is Rabbi Moshe Rothschild of the Global Israel Alliance, bringing you the weekly news summary from Israel. Though I'm sitting here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I will give you the update of everything that was newsworthy in Israel this week. It was quite a busy week. So here we go. Starting first again with the election update. Remember, April 9th, we'll be having a national general election in Israel. And the new poll has released shows the Likud party, which is the right of center party, has gained and is only down by 4 seats according to the polls. Just 2 weeks ago, it was 6 seats. However, the Likud, the right-wing party, would be the only one that would be able to form a government according to the polls. The Palestinian Authority this week appointed a new prime minister, not to be confused with its president, Mahmoud Abbas, who's really calling all the shots, who has way overextended his legal term, but they did appoint a new prime minister, though I don't think there will be any practical difference because all the power seems to be with the president, with Mahmoud Abbas. And we'll keep an eye on that. The U.S. and Israel will be entering trade negotiations this week to discuss an upgrade to the existing agricultural trade agreement between Israel and the United States. Under the existing agreement, quote, virtually any product produced in Israel that can be competitive in the U.S. market can enter the U.S. duty-free. In contrast, though, U.S. products face high tariffs in Israel, so we're going to begin negotiating that to create a more level playing field. That was in the news this week. In the Golan Heights, which is the northeastern corner of Israel, the IDF uncovered secret Hezbollah terror network on the Syrian side of the Golan Heights. And ostensibly, this terror network was set up without the knowledge of the Syrian government, although I have my doubts. It would seem to me that the Syrian government would be okay with having the Hezbollah terrorists there. The Hezbollah operatives were patrolling the border with Syria and Israel, trying to identify targets or vulnerabilities in the fence between Israel and Syria. Yes, fences and walls do work. They had been apparently using this position to gather intelligence, and it was discovered this week by the IDF. On the Temple Mount, a border police woman was injured when an Arab threw a Molotov cocktail at a police station near the Lion's Gate, which is, that's where the Temple Mount is. And the police entered the Temple Mount following the attack. They closed off all the entrances, and it's led to some violent clashes between the police and the Muslim worshipers there. The U.S. aid in 2020, the fiscal plan sent by the White House to Congress includes an aid package for Israel of $3.3 billion, which was part of the 10-year memorandum agreement that was signed under President Obama, and it went into effect in October. And the budget document that the White House sent to the Congress said as follows, and I quote, "The budget fully supports the U.S.-Israel Memorandum of Understanding and includes $3.3 billion in foreign military financing grant assistance to bolster Israel's capacity to defend itself against threats in the region and maintain its qualitative military edge. Israel is and has always been grateful to the United States for its military aid, financial aid to Israel. The U.S. never has sent troops to defend Israel. Israel always defends itself, but in peripheral aid, such as money and weapons, the United States has been a great friend of Israel." The Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, took a tour of the Golan Heights with U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham said as follows, "The Golan is not disputed. It is in the hands of Israel and will always remain in the hands of Israel. My goal is to try to explain this to the administration." So the Prime Minister, Netanyahu, responded to Lindsey Graham. I think it's very important that the international community recognize this fact and accept it, and most especially our great friend, the United States of America. In the business news, a U.S. company, NVIDIA, purchased an Israeli company called Mellanox for $6.9 billion in cash. Yes, friends, that's $billion, which was the second largest acquisition ever of an Israeli high-tech company. So go boycott that, you BDSers. Another interesting story. Nechama Rivlin, the wife of Israeli President Reuven Rivlin, received a lung transplant this week. The lung came from a 19-year-old young man, Yechezkel Halbali, whose family donated his organs after he drowned in an accident in Eilat. Late this week, Thursday, Friday, rockets were fired to Tel Aviv from Gaza. The Israeli IDF do believe that they were fired at Gaza accidentally. Rockets have been fired from Gaza into Sderot, which is the nearest town in the south, and Israel has responded. We will keep an eye on that story. This is developing. Israel intelligence has taken satellite images confirming the construction of a new missile factory in the Syrian coastal city of Safita. Of course, we'll keep an eye on that as well. Now, in an amazing update, folks, listen to this one. The U.S. State Department changed its usual description of the Golan Heights from Israeli-occupied to Israeli-controlled in its annual Global Human Rights Report released by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. This is a huge development that it's not referred to as occupied territory or the occupation, but rather the State Department chose the language very carefully, as it would seem. Exxon Mobil is considering exploring for oil and gas offshore from Israel, and we hope that comes to fruition, but that's a developing story. So that's the news this week from Israel. This is Rabbi Moshe Rothschild, actually in Tulsa, Oklahoma, wishing you a wonderful week, a great Shabbat. May this be the greatest Shabbat of your life, at least until next week. We are wishing a full recovery to board member Chris Walsh, who had a stroke last night, and we got word that he's doing much better. He's thank God, come through the surgery and seems to be on the path to full recovery. Please, God, continue to pray.